humbled to be standing before you. This moment is truly a culmination. We typically think of a graduation as a one-time event at the end of one year, and on the surface, it is. Yet, in many ways, it's a lot more than that. A graduate is 13 years in the making. Each and every one of you is 13 years of memories, hard work, and lessons learned. You are the sum of Monday mornings, Friday nights, and everything in between. And although we have spent 13 years anticipating the day when we could stand on this stage and believe in the importance of our accomplishments, I can't help but feel that our time together was too short. Before we even dreamed we'd make it here, we began our journey at Pictou Elementary, bright-eyed and too naive to realize that we were being ripped off when we foolishly traded our fruit roll-ups for a package of cracker sticks with processed cheese dip. Our days were filled with games of foursquare, library periods where our happiness was entirely dependent on whether we were the first to get the top seat of the steps, and when being the first to raise your hands in peace gave one rights to a holier-than-thou attitude. Our Webkinz collections determined our social ranking, but if you could make it across the monkey bars without falling, have the coolest dinky, or win in a grass fight, your popularity surpassed that of even the biggest Webkinz collector. As our days of spring flings and fun Fridays drew to a close, we prepared for the next big step in our lives, the McCullough. Although we did not appreciate descending back to the bottom of the social totem pole, we soon discovered the many wonderful perks of the otherwise dusty old school. While boys exercised their right to grow their hair to shoulder length, girls learned the art of fashion over function when skinny jeans became popular, and made sure our side bangs were always perfectly straight. Puberty had ensured we were all sufficiently gangly, awkward, and had experienced the debilitating fear of finding a zit the night before semi. Friday skates and movie double dates blurred the boy-girl lines we had strictly drawn in elementary school. Our 10 o'clock bedtimes were almost always exceeded by intense MSN conversations, and the possession of the newest cell phone or bench sweater could either make or break one's social standing. We lived for Mrs. Hall's molasses cookies and felt like we were dying when the dreaded gym class beep test rolled around. Our thoughts revolved around who had been seen slow dancing with whom at the last dance, and it was guaranteed that everyone would be on the dance floor when we heard the opening bass line of the cha-cha slide. Though we soon held the distinguished position of grade 8, Pictou Academy felt much further away than a short walk across the parking lot. Before we knew it, we were high schoolers. We shed our middle school personalities and experienced the shifting tides of friendship. We were reminded that high school passes by, but found little time to ensure we enjoyed it between grueling 12-page essays and last-minute study sessions. Clubs, committees, and sports teams gave us a chance to find our niches. We grew our collection of late slips and coffee cups and quickly learned how precious sleep could be. In every sense of the phrase, we have grown together. We know each other inside out. We all know Sean Roach will always be the first to arrive at any school event. We know Madeline McKinnon will be bumming for food 2 minutes into physics class. As always, Erica McKenzie would be diligently doing her work even if a SWAT team rushed the school. Heck, by the time I finish this speech, Isaac Young has probably figured out 5 solutions to global warming and found a loophole in Einstein's theory of relativity. We have started to acknowledge that we'll no longer see each other in the halls every day. And yet, despite the forces of life, time, and circumstance, we still stand together willingly as a graduating class. There are so many things that bind us together, but I think the beauty lies in what sets us apart. There is not one way to sum up high school that can effectively convey the good, the bad, and the roller coaster emotions we only began to feel in September. For some of us, it's been a genuinely good experience. Okay, well, maybe not the early mornings and the zombie-like, caffeine-deprived state as a result of extreme procrastination on English assignments. But it's been full of unforgettable memories and a lot of late nights in our small town of Pictou that we both love and hate. For others, it's been the space between childhood and the unknown, a stop on the road to where you're going. What high school and graduating has meant to me is not the same as what it's meant to you. But that's okay, in fact, that's great. Despite our differences, we're all graduates. And I must say, you all know how to work that red and white. In our grad year, there have been events that were incredible, and others that were exceedingly sad. But amidst the difficulty of a loss, we found solace in the stability of our school. We found comfort in the support of our community, and we were reminded that life is like the branches of a tree. They continue growing and flourishing despite the uncertainty of the seasons. When I look at the other 35 faces on this stage, I see a lot. A few looks of terror, some of relief. Actually, I'm pretty sure Blake Robertson is sleeping in the back room right now. As always, the importance is in what lies beneath the surface. The 36 students being honored on this stage are not just high school graduates. They are future Nobel Peace Prize winners, they are believers and dreamers, but most of all, they are life changers. Think about it. Someday, this moment is going to be a frame and in a picture frame on someone's wall, and we'll all be absorbed with the next chapter of our lives, whatever it may be. We'll have long forgotten the weight of the infamous white doors at front Pictou Academy, the deafeningly loud crashes that happen so often during class, the feeling of utter relief when Miss McKay agrees to postpone a science test because, let's be honest, nobody studied for that, and the sweet sound of the bell letting us out 10 minutes early on Friday. C.S. Lewis once said, "There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind." And although I know he's right, I can't help but disagree with him. On my final official day of classes at PA, I walked in the white doors, and for a second I felt 15 and naive. And it was then that I realized, whether or not is abundantly clear, we are leaving a lot behind. We're leaving a school we love, friends that have had our back since we were children. We're abandoning all we hold dear to look uncertainty in the face, pray that it turns out all right, and throw ourselves into this crazy thing grown-ups like to call the real world. And yes, that's scary and difficult, but there's some part of us that knows it's going to be okay. To suggest each of us made it to this exact moment entirely of our own accord would be dishonest. We are shaped by every person we know and have known. We are required to grow, change, and shift by those who help us and those who hurt us. Those who most certainly fall in the former category are our educators. You know, the people on this stage that look significantly older and more bored than everyone else. In my opinion, the best teachers, in fact, the best people in the world, are those who teach you to be a better person. Underneath all of the essays, assignments, and exams, I believe that if I can take that away from high school, I will have succeeded. The teachers and staff at Pictou Academy consistently go beyond the call of their profession. Throughout our 4 years, they have been our therapists, our cheerleaders, and more often than not, our voice of reason. Most importantly, they've always been there to help us in whatever way they can. I can truly say that I'm privileged to know the educators at Pictou Academy, and I want to express my deepest gratitude to them, because most of us would not be sitting on this stage today if it weren't for their guidance. The parties, the exams, the long hours at work blended together until we found ourselves here, as grads. Sure, we learned practical life lessons like the value of a dollar. Who knew a minimum wage paycheck could support a severe obsession to Tim Hortons and going out for a rip a few times a week? Yet, we also learned the intangible lessons, the lessons that did not immediately present themselves as positive. When we pulled an all-nighter to finish our ISPs, we learned the value of a day. When we failed those math tests, we learned the value of an hour. When we lost by 2 points at provincials, we learned the value of a minute. Time has slipped by like sand through our hands, and now our futures await. We're all in our red and white caps and gowns, looking out into the audience full of loved ones. Grads, I want you to remember the value of a moment. Whether we feel ready to leave or not, we have exited PA's ancient halls for the last time. We are a grad class 36 strong. We are made up of dreamers, doers, believers, hopers, maybe some procrastinators. Though we are 36 different people with different ambitions, different beliefs, different hopes, we are united. Each and every one of us brings something special to our grad class, be it a kind heart or an outgoing personality. In all that I've said, if there's one thing I want you to remember when you walk off this stage, it's your lessons. And no, I don't mean that really uncomfortable sex talk in grade 8. I want you to remember that every mistake you make is a lesson to learn, and it will be repeated until you've learned it. The same goes for your accomplishments too. For for there are lessons that teach you just how much you can achieve with hard work, determination, passion, and imagination. Although lessons are a part of life, they don't make up who you are. Only you can decide that. When you're going through life trying to figure that out, I want you to remember that even if you're no longer a part of Pictou Academy, it will always be a part of you. We have not just made it, but we have arrived. This is us, graduates of the Pictou Academy class of 2014.